G'day, it's Craig from Australian Direct, the makers of Kick-Ass products. And I want to do a quick video due to the fact that it's time to go camping again. Everyone's allowed out and about. It's almost Christmas. A lot of us haven't been camping in quite some time. So I'm going to do a few hints and tips on getting our gear ready. It pays to have everything checked over before you go away camping. You don't want to head away and realise you didn't check something after it's been sitting for so long. So what we'll do is a couple of quick videos, a few hints and tips, and let's get started. Cheers. Okay, so another piece of kit I want to check out is your fridge. It possibly hasn't been used in 6 or so months as well since the last trip, and if it hasn't, well, it's time to get it out and blow the cobwebs off it and have a look over it. First off, let's give it a nice good clean out. I recommend using, a multi-purpose cleaner. Don't use any solvents or any harsh bleaches or anything like that. Just a vanilla fridge or a cleaner like this. Get inside, pull the baskets out, give it a nice clean, make sure the interior is nice and clean. Clean all the inside and the outside of the fridge. Now what we want to do is plug the fridge in before you go away on the trip and just pre-test that everything's working okay. Not that it shouldn't be, but it pays to know before you go on your camping trip, especially if it hasn't been used for 6 or 7 months. Check all your connections on your fridge. Once again, your Anderson plug connector, check the fridge line, where you connect your fridge into the fridge itself. Make sure that's all working right, that the terminals are all okay. Plug it into 240 volt, turn it on, set your temperatures to what your desired temperatures are going to be. I prefer 4 degrees for the fridge and minus 16 for the freezer when we're going camping. Get everything all set up, run it on 240 volt, maybe put some bottles of water or something like that if you're not ready to pack up, just so the fridge can work correctly, and monitor how the performance of the fridge is going. And then, connect it up to the 12 volt system that you're going to be using. Make sure that everything's working. Once again, checked all the connections on the fridge to the fridge. We've talked about charging our batteries. This is a great way to make everything works out perfectly before you go camping. Check over the bag, you know what I mean? Like some people, the bags have gone, a bit yucky over the time. You can give our team a call. We do actually sell spare bags for the 75 litre fridge. So, if you find your bag's not up to scratch either, hey, give us a buzz about another bag as well. Make sure everything's working absolutely perfect, and that way you're going to be a happy camper, especially with cold beers and cold food. Okay, let's take a quick look at our vacuum sealer. Now these are nice and easy to maintain and usually get left in the cupboard or forgotten about. So before we go on the next trip with that too, I do suggest one, have a look at the connections, make sure everything's nice and fine, all plugs in well. Next, if we can have a quick look, using just once again a mild detergent and a microfiber cloth, just give everything a nice clean. Now what you can do with these, after a while the seals can be clamped down, and a lot of people when they're packing them away will actually store the units away like this. Now I much prefer if you actually left it open a little bit when you're storing away, and that way it's not always putting pressure on these seals. But what we can actually do is we can remove the seals out, give them a bit of a clean. You'd be surprised how much stuff gets caught in these sometimes. And even leaving it out in the sun a little while to help expand and become like brand new again. And once we pull them out, we want to just go through the channel, whack the seal back in. There we go, that's feeling a lot better already. So do that both to the top and the bottom of the seal. Now if you grab a small screwdriver, what you can actually do without damaging anything, obviously with the power turned off on the unit itself, just under the little heat strip, what you can do is just lift it up. Now the heat strip just peels out like that. It's nice and easy to get to, and once again you can give it a bit of a clean in the channel that it's on. Make sure there's no corrosion. Make sure there's no corrosion inside the terminals here. If you've got some electrical cleaner, you can give a bit of a spray there, but other than that they should be a nice tight fit, and push that back down. Now a lot of people do, unfortunately, when they're vacuuming wet food, actually have wet food go into these chambers, which you don't really want to do. You want to, keep most of that in the bag. So this is a good idea to how I clean the whole thing out. And then just once again, give it a dummy run. So plug it into your power source. Just make sure everything's working fine. I'm going to vac seal one of our watt meters. Now once again, I do prefer to put the smooth side down onto the heating strip itself, and it just gives a better seal. So we're just going to whack that in. Okay, so there we go. So we checked that our vac seal is working right, and we know it's good to go. We've given it a good clean up. So once again, that's another piece of gear that we know that it's going to work while we're away camping. And as well, if you're running low on bags, don't forget we do sell a lot of bags as well. So head over to the website and check it out if you need some extra bags for your camping trip. That's always good to remember, and no good having a vac sealer without bags. Okay, so another great piece of gear to check over before you take off is your Kick-Ass travel oven. Now what we want to do is just make sure she's all nice and clean from the last trip. Who knows what could have got left in there. So give her a nice clean out, and then we want to connect it to the battery. We want to look up all the wiring. Make sure it's all okay. There's no cuts, no nicks, anything in it. Who knows, mice, rats chewing it over the winter before we've been camping. Just make sure the connectors on the Anderson plug are all good. Also, check the fuse out. Now, our travel ovens use a 15 amp fuse, so make sure you got some spares, but check it out anyway, make sure it's all good. And then once we've charged up our battery bank, whack it in. And I really suggest it's a good excuse to get a pie into you on a week beforehand or a couple of weeks before. Grab yourself a pie. I mean, look at this. Awesome. A good excuse to get a pie into you. Pre-checking your gear before you go away. Who wants a cold pie? You know, it really does pay to do all the preparation, especially after all this time, and that way you really enjoy your camping trip and, you know, you've done everything you possibly can. So once again, thanks very much for watching the video. I really appreciate it. Cheers. And remember, if you look after your gear's going to look after you.